Death or Prison, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. Let's join Johnny Branham and Elmo Golden in a bonus episode with the author of the book, The Shot Caller, Casey Diaz. This episode is entitled, From Prison to Pastor.
Hello and welcome to the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org, where you can click the podcast button and connect with a welcoming church near you. I am Johnny Branham, and to my left, Mr. Elmo Big Mo Golden, and we have Pastor Casey Diaz, the author of Shot Caller.
We had the court-appointed, classes that you had to take, gang violence, gang awareness, victim awareness, and AA and NA. I really didn't dig those two because my crime didn't have nothing to do with drugs, but they're court ordered, so you're gonna have to take them. So I took those courses, but for me, it was more of a working on myself. Was more of me staying very disciplined in reading my Bible. I mean, I read that thing like no other. I mean, I just spent hours and hours. I mean, if I was awake, I'm reading that Bible. There was no, I didn't have entertainment in there. That was my thing, and I was okay with that. I read books prior to the Bible. I share in my book how my father didn't allow me to watch sports and stuff like that, so he'd throw books at me. So that came into to good use when I was inside doing time. Well, because up until now, I'm a book reader.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure those classes help. They help you out when it came time to go before the parole commission, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to complete them. There's no way of you not complying and then showing up at parole board and hoping to get released without completing any of those courses. So you have to. They're mandated. So it's for your good to go through them. It was interesting. You learn quite a bit of I remember they would bring victims of violent crimes into some of these classrooms and speak to us about their experience with a violent crime that they had to endure. Or there was times when they brought in victims of where they lost a loved one to gang violence or assaulted by a gang, and they would share their story. So you learn quite a bit on that side of it. As a believer, it was more. It's almost like you're made aware that you terrorize somebody's life. You really mess somebody's life, and they're not going to be the same from your actions, from whatever it is that you did to them. So yeah, you become aware of all these things that maybe you weren't aware before, mm-hmm. or didn't care to be aware of. But I came up for parole, and I didn't know I was gonna get out. I definitely wasn't counting on it. I still had several years over my head, and just wasn't looking forward to going home anytime soon. And it was in this moment that I go in there, and this panel of this board members, and they start off. There was this pastor that went in there, and he prayed for me. And I remember seeing him before stepping into this room, into this boardroom, and he caught me by surprise because he says, I'm here to pray for you. And I told him, I said, I'm not going home, so what are we going to pray for? He says, well, I'm just here to support you and pray for you. So we prayed.
So Casey, hold on one second. To have someone come out that you barely know from the outside and begin to support you and pray for you, how did that make you feel?
Well, it was. I I was surprised more than anything else. But I wasn't expecting anything. I mean, I really wasn't. I wasn't expecting the results that I got. But it was very cool of him to even take the drive and the time that it took, to come to this parole hearing and pray for me before going in there. And so I walk in there, and they're asking you the typical questions of what have you been doing since the last time, and what programs have you completed. Are you learning anything right now? All that, right? How do you feel about your crime? It goes into full detail, right? And I remember they asked me the question, and usually you're asked this. Almost everybody's asked this. I'm sure that you're familiar with it as well. I don't know if they ask you over there, but I'm assuming they would. Why do you think that we should parole you? Why do you think we should release you? And my answer was, you shouldn't. You shouldn't release me. I don't deserve to ever be out. In fact, I said, I think that the court and the sentence that it imposed upon me was quite lenient, and I think that I deserve to be here for the rest of my life. I mean, I really do, and so I'm not looking forward to you releasing me or anything like that. I know that I need to serve out my time, and the crime that I'm in here for is it's something that I take full responsibility of my actions. It's nobody else's fault. It's mine. I made the choice, and I don't deserve to ever be out. I mean, that's the truth.
So Casey, now you've given your spiel to the parole board. I think somebody asked you, what would you like for dinner?
Yeah, and they said, what are you going to have for lunch? Is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is after, because we took a recess on there, and so we came back in, and said, what are you going to have for lunch? And I said, if you miss chow hall, you get a sack lunch, which is the as you know, sack lunches in prison. They're not necessarily Chick-fil-A.
Right. The bologna sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some mystery meat sandwich. But I said, well, since I'm not going anywhere, I'd like to make it to get a hot before I get that sack lunch. So if we're all good here, and that's when they pushed the paperwork in front of me and said, and I saw it. It said parole granted on there. I couldn't believe it, man. I just, my jaw dropped. I could not believe that I was being paroled.
So Casey, now you go through the process. You're getting ready to go home. You're walking out the gate now. You hear the gate close behind you. You're smelling that fresh air. You're released. Tell us what happened as soon as you walked out the gate.
So, you exit through administration here, and I remember the second to the last door closing behind me. And the only thing that's separating me and freedom is a glass door. And behind that glass door is two INS agents.
And what's INS?
Immigration agents. And, I was born in El Salvador. So they're there, and they asked me my name. They know my name. They know who I am, right? They have everything. But they asked, and I said, yeah, this is Darwin Diaz. And he says, go ahead and put your box down and turn around. And they had a little milk crate of chains. And I got chained up, man, and put on a little van and driven to a federal facility. And my thought was, well, here it is. I'm getting deported to El Salvador, to a place that I was born, but I don't know anyone there. I don't. I mean, even my Spanish is all jacked up. I'm not your average Salvadoran, and I know that. So I get into this tank. I get into this tank in this holding cell. There's a phone number, payphone there inside the cell, and there's two Mexican dudes inside of there. There would be what we call paisas, like Mexican nationals,
right?
That have broken English, and they've been transferred to that facility because they came from other prisons. So there's two of them in there, and they asked me, where are you from, and in regards to what country I'm from. I said I was born in El Salvador. And he says, "Man, you got a family over there?" I said, "Nah, man, I don't got any family there." "You got kids, wife?" I said, "Nah." "You got family out here?" I said, "Yeah, I got my mom's." And he says, "Are you gonna call them?" I said, "Nah, I'm not gonna call her. I'm gonna call her when I get, wherever I get to. Then I'll make a call. I don't feel like, breaking that lady's heart again. So I'm gonna wait it out, And I start witnessing to these two dudes, one by one. And I'm sharing my story. I'm sharing what took place at New Folsom. And little by little, I start to see that the first guy that I start talking to, he's taking heed. And within minutes, man, I'm leading him to the Lord. And one of the things that I ended up getting at New Folsom was 2 Spanish Bibles that I put in my box, my release box. They were shrink wrapped. And I kept them. I don't know how to read Spanish. I know how to read Spanish, but I don't know how, I'm not fluent in it, So I kept them for I didn't know why I kept them, but I kept them. And so they were there in my box, and my box was outside of that holding cell tank, that tank. And so I go up to the gate, and these are bars. And I go and the INS guy one of the INS guys that had came and brought me from New Folsom, he's walking by, and I said, "Hey man, is it okay if I get one of my Bibles, Spanish Bible from my box? Can you get that for me?" And he goes in my box and gives it to me. And I go back to this dude who I just led to the Lord. I give it to him. And then the second guy, I start talking to the second guy. And within minutes, now all 3 of us are holding hands, and I'm leading him to the Lord.
Right. So, Casey, we're talking about Louis and Miguel, and these are the 2 guys that you bring to Christ. And according to the book, the immigration center, they release you, right?
No,
they don't release you.
No. Yes. They don't release me to the streets. They release me from their facility. Yes.
And where did you go?
So I get there. So once I lead the second guy to Christ, then immediately after that is when that same INS agent comes to the gate, and he asked me. He says, "Do you have anything else in the cell?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, we made a mistake, but we can't release you from here. We're going to have to take you back to state, and the state of California will release you." That's when I was sent back to Folsom, to New Folsom, and I was released from New Folsom within 24 hours.
Tell us what was going through your mind. What did you want when you got out?
I wanted ice cream, man, to be honest with you. I wanted some ice cream, and I got me some ice cream. I think I had the biggest brain freeze known to mankind, because as you know, in prison you eat really fast, and so I got a little a thing of ice cream, and I just went to town on it, man. That was my first meal out here, as far as a meal, as far as something that I liked. But it was quite an experience. To see God's hand upon your life and the favor that God has put upon your life, it's it's something that how do you explain that? God had mercy on you. Number one, you should have been dead. Two, God's giving you a second chance of life out here. And I've been out for quite a bit of time, man. I'm getting close to almost 30 years here.
Wow.
Of being out. I shared my story in little small groups. I never thought about, writing a book. You share your story. When you share your testimony, I don't know about you guys in there, but, it's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to be, to say it out there just like that loosely. So I always shared my testimony very, very to a minimal.
Yeah.
I tried not to bring so much attention to everything, and I would hear people say, you got to write a book and you got to do this, and I kind of just dismissed that, as it on a per person basis, and then here we are, man. Next thing I know, we're getting a book together, and it becomes a bestseller right away. I've been doing so many interviews since the book release of April 2nd, 2019. That we're now in the stage of making a film about it. So Hollywood has stepped in, and there's going to be a motion picture. It's already in development. The script is almost complete. We're at about 99% done of the script.
Right.
And then it goes into the next level of it.
We've kind of lost Frances in the midst of everything that was going on. Did you ever make contact with her?
Oh yeah, man. When I got paroled, I didn't tell her that I got paroled when I got out. So what I did is I went to the church, and I surprised her. I just dipped in there, and it's an all black Baptist church. So when I walked in there, I stood out, and I still dressed like a gang member because that's all I knew how to dress like. So they're just regular people, and what they see is, I'm assuming what they're looking at is a gang member. The ones that didn't know us, didn't know me. And little by little, man, everybody was turning to see why everybody was looking back there, because it was a packed service. And there was not a lot of people. I mean, it was like maybe about, I want to say 150, 200 people at the most. But it was packed. People were standing. And so everybody's looking towards the back to see what everybody's looking at. And Francis Proctor and the prison ministry were sitting in the front row of that service, and we had quite a moment. There was a lot of weeping, a lot of rejoicing, a lot of hugging, and it was just a special moment where God brought this together, and they got to see the fruit of their labor. By the way, when I got married, that whole prison ministry was invited to my wedding. They were there.
Oh, amen. And Casey, tell us a little bit about your own ministry, and I believe you have a business that you started also.
So now, what we're doing now is, the book has been very successful, and now we're in making a motion picture film that's attached to the book, and we have a podcast as well, the Shot Caller Podcast, and we're on all the major platforms on there. We just launched our YouTube channel, so we're going to be updating that as we go. But you could always go to our website, and our website is kcdiaz.net, and in there you'll find just everything that I'm doing currently. For 2021, there's a lot of speaking engagements. If there's any church out there that wants me to come and speak at their venue, men's ministry, a church, for any speaking engagement, they could always go to info@kcdiaz.net, and our team will respond. But you could go straight to the website, kcdiaz.net, and you'll find a form to fill out right there, and our team will take care of it, and they'll make the best they can with being able to send me out to a speaking engagement. So it's been very exciting to be out here. I'm raising a family, which is my priority. I have 2 adult kids and one that is an 11-year-old boy. So I got my wife. We just celebrated 22 years of marriage. I mean that right there is
yes.
It's that's the fun part of my life, man. Hanging out with my family and raising these kids, man, to know the Lord. And my oldest one attends Azusa Pacific, which is a Christian college, and my other one attends Biola. And they're just they're loving their life, man. It's just to see these kids, man, grow up and avoid so much that's out there. And we don't bubble wrap them or anything like that. They see the life of their mom and their dad in a very real and vivid lifestyle. And we're just normal people, man. That we love the Lord. And now I work with a lot of guys that are coming out of the joint. A lot of the fellas that have done 20 plus years. We have Bible studies here at the studio. We pray. We come together. We break bread. We share our struggles. You need that when you come out. And this is something that I didn't have when I came out. When I touched down, there was if there was any resources, I wasn't aware of that. And this is what I love about Death or Prison podcast, and what you guys are doing over there in the East Coast is basically what we're doing here on the West Coast. And I really love that your team and along with Ken and Alpha USA and Lean on Me. I mean, what an incredible team that you guys have over there, and you're making a difference. And this is what it's all about. When we get born again, when we come to Christ, it's not about keeping it it's not about keeping Him to ourselves. It's telling the world about Him. And a lot of these dudes coming out, man, they don't know what to expect out here. They've been locked up for years, decades, and some of them don't have family. And the only family that they will have is people like us that will understand that kind of lifestyle and will, outstretch our hand and help them, get back on their feet as they return to the streets out here, man. And it's a privilege to work with alongside with guys like yourselves and the folks that I work with out here in California.
Yes. I want to personally thank you again, Pastor Casey, for being a part of this podcast. You have been listening to the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org, where you can click the podcast button to connect with a welcoming church near you. We just want you to, as we say each week, it's Death or Prison podcast, but we would like for you to choose life. Thank you.
Looking for a welcoming church? Connect at leanonmeusa.org. Death or Prison is a production of leanonmeusa.org. Copyright 2020. Death or Prison is offered for information only and is not intended as legal advice. Thank you for listening.
I can change the world. Feed one, teach one boy and girl. Maybe we can change the world.